Hey there, it's CJ Willie and I'm cracking a pack. Today is pack number 4 in the Magic the Gathering Amonkhet Bundle Bingo. Check out my preview video for the explanation on how this Amonkhet Bundle Bingo will work. I've added the link to that video in the description below. So, here's my bingo card. We're on pack 4. So far, pack 1, 2, and 3, those were duds. So hopefully I'm able to get one of these squares and then I'll be able to mark off my bingo square, my free one, because everyone needs a free bingo square. So here we are on pack 4. As usual, as I go through the pack, it's going to be from a very casual Magic the Gathering player point of view. And I stress the word casual. I think it's kind of a cool look at cards and an interesting way to look at them. So maybe you'll agree with what I say, maybe you won't, but at least it's going to be fun. All right, first card is Sparring Mummy. 3 and a white. You get a zombie that's a 3/3. When Sparring Mummy enters the battlefield, untap target creature. So basically, you play this after you've attacked and you give one of your attackers vigilance. This was a pretty good combat trick, I thought, or nifty play when you have an exert creature. With red and white being kind of aggro, this was really nice. You would attack with, let's say, an exert creature. You get some damage because there weren't any blocks. You play Sparring Mummy, it would untap, and basically your creature wouldn't have exert anymore. Next card was Hekima Sentinels. 3 mana, 2 and a blue, human cleric. It's a 2/3. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, Hekima Sentinels gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This card didn't seem to have a lot of payoffs. There was cycling in the set. I tried it a couple of times. Usually what ended up happening is I'd be cycling on defense because it would be a 3/4, or if I cycle twice it'd be a 4/5 for a block. I didn't really get a good feel for this card, and I didn't really like it as much as some of the other blue cards in the set. Manticore of Gauntlet. 5 mana, 4 and a red, Manticore. You get a 5/4. When Manticore of the Gauntlet enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. Manticore of the Gauntlet deals 3 damage to target opponent. I did like this card quite a bit, especially in a red deck that was maybe aggro, maybe a little more grandier, green and red. There were a couple of times where I've played this card and won the game because it's dealt the last 3 points of damage. So it was a pretty cool red card. Supply Caravan, 5 mana, 4 and a white. You get a camel that's a 3/5. When Supply Caravan enters the battlefield, if you control a tapped creature, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. I didn't like this too much. In some of my slow dirtly decks, there was either blue-white flyers or I'd stall you out. A 3/5 did block, and usually it was good against like an aggressive deck. But by turn 5, you're already in so much of a hole that if this was your only creature and you did happen to have a tapped creature to create a 1/1, there was just too much going on for this card to really work all that much. Quarry Hauler, 4 mana, 3 and a green. You get another camel, so 2 camels in a row. It's a 4/3. When Quarry Hauler enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter on target permanent, put another counter of that kind on it or remove one from it. I did like this quite a bit. For 4 mana, you got a 4/3, which was decent stats. And a lot of times what would happen is I played a previous green or black creature that had a -1/-1 counter on it. I'd play Quarry Hauler, take off the counter, good to go. There were a couple of times where there was enough -1/-1 counters on a creature that my opponent controlled, or one of my friends, where I'd add another counter and it would kill off the creature. So not too bad of a card. Wander in Death, 3 mana, 2 and a black sorcery. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, or cycling 2. Now this is really good payoff. Sometimes cards like these don't get played because they don't have much impact. There was a lot of stuff dying in Amonkhet, and cycling for 2 generic mana really helped it out a ton. So this is a card that I did like playing. Either I'd recover a couple of creatures out of my deck, or if I didn't need to, I'd just cycle it and pick up another card. Dissenter's Deliverance, 2 mana, 1 and a green. Instant, destroy target artifact, cycling for 1 green. Another kind of utility cycling card. There were a couple of annoying artifacts running around. It wasn't in any of my main decks, and like I said, for our play group, we don't use too many sideboards, but I do remember in draft I sideboarded this card a couple of times to take care of, an annoying artifact. Splendid Agony, 3 mana, 2 and a black, instant, distribute 2 -1/-1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. I did like this quite a bit. So when I get playing against aggressive decks where their butts are 1, this card came in so handy on turn 3. Pop off 2 of their annoying creatures, like a Ret Crop Spearmaster or Glorybound Initiate. It was really easy to kind of then control the game from from being just aggroed out. Hyena Pack, 4 mana, 2 and 2 red. You get a Hyena that's a 3/4 with no abilities. Nope, out on this card. I haven't really seen any utility, and it just didn't match in any of the decks from the draft format. Okay, we're on to our first uncommon, Manglehorn, 3 mana, 2 and a green. It's a beast, 2/2. When Manglehorn enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact. Artifacts your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. I do like this card quite a bit. It's not as great as like Reclamation Sage or Acidic Slime, but I do like that it makes artifacts come in tapped. It's one of the cards that I do like to play in a couple of green decks when I've got to play someone that's playing Marvel Aetherworks. So making the artifacts come in tapped is kind of a nice ability. This is a card that I have played and I play occasionally. Faith of the Devoted, 3 mana, 2 and a black, enchantment. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you may pay 1 generic. If you do, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I tried so hard to make this card work in kind of a fun standard build. I tried to do like blue-black cycling. It was too slow. Just couldn't make it happen, even though I'd fill up with cycling cards, and there were plenty in blue and black. I wanted so hard to make this deck try. Maybe with cycling returning in Ikoria, I can get it to work, but it's one of those uncommons that I see and I think, okay, this is something that's going to work out. I build a deck around it, and it just doesn't pan out. Final uncommon, Crop Champion, 4 mana, 2 green and a white. You get a human warrior that's a 4/4. You may exert on Crop Champion as it attacks. When you do, untap all other creatures you control. So this is kind of a Christmas land card, in my opinion. I have tried so many different times in more of an aggressive green-white deck with different exerted creatures like Hooded Brawler, Glorybound Initiate, to really make this work to where I could play it on turn 4, and then I'd exert all my creatures, attack in, and then they would untap because of Uncrop Champion. It just never came together. Never ever came together. I mean, for 4 mana, a 4/4 body is great. Just outside of the kind of parasitic exert mechanic, I've even tried it. It's something that I keep coming back to and thinking I can get this to work, but as of yet, like Faith of the Devoted, I can't get it to pan out. Okay, we're to the rare. Hopefully, let's be able to check off one of these bingo squares. Let's get 2 of them. With the Fat Pack bundle core set 2014, I couldn't even do it until pack 8. So will pack 4 be the one where I break the spell? All right, our rare is, nope, Vizier of Many Faces. 4 mana, 2 generic and 2 blue, Shapeshifter Cleric. You may have Vizier of Many Faces enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except if Vizier of Many Faces was embalmed, the token has no mana cost, it's white, and it's a zombie in addition to its other types. Embalm for 5. This is a clone ability that I do like. I do like Vizier of Many Faces. I think it's a really good card. It enters once, copies something. If it dies, it can come right back and copy the same thing or something else. I've played Vizier of Many Faces in blue decks where I'm a little more control-y. I end up copying maybe one of their cards, Or, you know, if I've got a really cool card on my side, I might copy that. But most of the time I'm copying, you know, one of the cards of my opponent's. It's not that valuable. It's about a 50-cent rare, but it is a fun rare to play, and I do like playing it quite a bit. We do get a foil. Wow, we get a foil mythic. Okay, that's something else. So, guess what? I was all bummed that we wouldn't be able to mark off a square. Today we get to mark off a foil mythic, and we get to mark off a free square. So Combat Celebrant was a card that I have not played with. One of the guys in my play group has played it. He's tried a couple of different ways to get it to work. Let's read through the cards. So Combat Celebrant for 3 mana, 2 and a red, you get a 4/1 Human Warrior. If Common Celebrant hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, untap all other creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So it's one of the cards that gives you an extra turn. It's got a little bit of a shenanigan in that for the extra turn, Combat Celebrant can't attack, but if you're going wide or aggressive, it's another turn of a lot of damage. So it's a card that I think definitely has some impact, and it's a card that, you know, like I said, in our play group, we don't spend a lot of money on purchasing cards on eBay or singles. So it's a card that I think I'm going to try out in an aggressive red deck. I've got a couple that I think I could get it to work in. So although I haven't had much experience with it other than having you know, one of the guys in my play group play it, it's cool to pull it because now I've got a card that I can add into a deck and see if I can get it to work. Rounding out the pack, we've got a swamp and a zombie token. Okay, so Combat Celebrant regular, non-foil, is $4.20. The foil version is around $7. So that's pretty cool. Favorite card out of the pack? Just going back to it, I think my favorite card, even though I really like playing Vizier of Many Faces, the card that I like quite a bit and brought back a lot of memories was Splendid Agony. It was a card that kind of in the Amonkhet world did a lot of work, and I have used it in black decks where I can either pop off one creature with a butt of 2, or I can pop off a couple of aggressive creatures with a butt of 1. It's a card that you know, gets around indestructible, so I've used it to kill a Kython before it flips into a Gideon. So it has a lot of utilities. Once again, being a common, it's pretty easy to get your hands on. You know, you can get a play set of it relatively easy by opening packs or by being able to, you know, pick up at your local game store, you know, a play set for $1 or so. Anyway, we get to mark off the free space, and we get to mark off the foil space. So into pack 4, and we're able to accomplish what it took us until pack 8 in the core set 2014 Fat Pack Bingo. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Take some time to tell me in the comments section what you thought was the best card or your favorite card out of the pack. Until next time, when I'm back to crack pack number 5 of my Magic the Gathering Amonkhet Bundle Bingo.